Today I fucked up by using the nuclear option in a game of Monopoly. It was a 4-player family game of Monopoly. My brother, our parents and I were playing, and I wasn't doing well. I wasn't bankrupt or heavily mortgaged yet, but I could tell that if something drastic didn't change in the next 3 turns or so, I was toast. I didn't have any monopolies, but I did have a couple 2 out of 3 properties, New York and St. James being the standouts, and a couple scattered here or there. My brother was the clear favorite at this point, with my dad in clear second. My mom was losing right along with me. It was my turn, and I was trying to arrange a favorable trade. I'm negotiating with my dad. I have a property that'll give him another monopoly, he has a card that'll give me a monopoly. We both have enough money and side properties to even things up afterward. With a good trade here, we'd both have a higher chance of winning, significantly cutting into on my brother's lead. Seems like it should be a slam dunk, right? But no, my dad is pushing for the most ridiculous trades possible, and outright refusing to trade away those properties that are most valuable to me. If I don't get a monopoly out of this, I might as well not even bother with a trade. I'm getting frustrated as the negotiating stalls. But I get an idea. A terrible, terrible idea. I say to my dad, Dad, I'm clearly in the weaker position here. But right now, that just means I have less to lose. So here's the deal. If I don't get a trade from you that gives me a monopoly, I'm going to sell all of my properties to brother's name for $1. Dad didn't like that at all, and there was no trade. He also probably didn't expect me to carry through, but immediately after, I sold all my deeds to my brother for $1, and my dad lost any chance whatsoever of winning the game. Dad isn't speaking to me right now. Was that a supremely dickish move to play? Yup. I'm feeling a little vindicated, though, for not letting myself be pushed around when I was the little guy. But will anyone ever want to play Monopoly with me again? I kinda doubt it. Too long didn't read, was losing at family Monopoly, went mad and made dad mad. Family board games won't ever be the same. Edit, nothing's deleted. That is, I never tried to delete anything, but I'm getting messages that it's deleted. What's going on? Edit 2, AutoMod had removed it, but the mod undeleted it after I messaged them. Thank you mod. Also, did I just win the internet? What? What you should have done was sold everything to your mom for $1 and enjoyed the house and them being busy for the next 3 hours now that you turned the weakest player into the strongest, adding significant length to the game. Removed. My mother-in-law challenged me to a game of Monopoly for months, and we finally sat down one night to play. After a couple hours, I had 4 houses on several properties. There were no more physical houses when she went to buy some more. She did the classic "this house represents a house on each property" move. I told her she couldn't. She said she could. Pulled out the rules that clearly state there's a finite number of houses. Then I reminded her that we agreed at the beginning to settle all disputes by the exact rules in the box, unless a house rule was agreed upon at the beginning. I reiterated that there were no more houses, unless she wanted to buy them from me. She realized I had set her up for this, quit, went to bed irate, and has never brought up Monopoly again. I thought nuclear option was flip the table. People always get mad at me if I table flip when things aren't going well. They say that's not very adult, or that was a massive overreaction, or god damn it, mistakes happen, but you can't do that, you're a surgeon. Knowing houses have a finite limit, I like to slumlord it and buy all the cheap stuff and put houses on them, for a pop, but don't convert to hotels. Then no one else can get their income going. Deleted. Monopoly is a home wrecker. A few years ago there was a huge cyclone come over and shut our town down for a while. Repairs were done. No power for 3 weeks and no water for 9 days. There were 9 of us 20 to 35-year-olds, living in a share house. Now with no flushing toilets or tap water, or windows and walls without holes, some of the roof came down. The only time there were tensions were playing Monopoly. Today I fucked up by having a threesome with a married Indian couple. Usual disclaimer, this wasn't actually today. It was a few years back, I am quarantining, and to kill time I have decided to chronicle a few of my sexual adventures / mishaps. Just a bit of backstory. I am a single male and struggle with bipolar. During my mania phases my sex drive goes through the roof, I get very impulsive and often achieve god-tier levels of confidence. These traits serve me very well on dating, hookup apps, but have the tendency to land me in very questionable situations. Anyway, here goes. It was a Friday night and I was feeling lonely, horny, bored, less than stable, and more than a bit drunk. I had been getting a bit burned out with Tinder etc., and decided to try something new, so I downloaded a hookup app called threesome or threeter, can't remember the exact name. The app is designed for adventurous couples to find singles to join them for no strings sexy time. Don't all rush off now to try the app, it isn't great. It was very sparsely populated and 90% of people on middle-aged couples were looking for women in their early 20s, so it's a bit grim. After a while, I hit the jackpot. A profile pops up freshly listed only 5 kilometers away from my place. The picture was of a half-naked Indian woman, total stunner, long black glossy hair, athletic looking. She was a solid 8.5 out of 10. The tagline was "Fuck my wife while I watch." That isn't a request that needs to be made twice, especially not to me anyway, in my current mood. With full reckless abandon I messaged the profile, "Hey, how's it going? I'm totally DTF," followed by several of my best dick pics. An instant blunt terrifying reply gets sent back, one word: address. I remember raising an eyebrow thinking this is well dodgy, that was too easy. But fueled by full balls and unwavering mental illness, my dick had spoken, and the possibility of my kidneys being stolen came in a distant second to smashing this hot Indian chick. I sent my address and followed up with, "So how's this going to work? You're just going to jack off in the corner while I smash your wife then?" The reply was, "No, you fuck wife. We then leave, you only fuck wife. We be at address in 1 hour." Fearing the worst, and thinking it was too late to back out of the encounter as the couple already had my address, anxiety took hold. Both my mania and hard-on were in rapid decline. I convinced myself that the best thing I could do was to man up, pop half a Viagra, wash it down with some rum, and brace myself for the inevitable shit show that was to follow. As it would conspire, the term shit show was far too weak a term to describe the actual encounter. This was another level of fucked up. If the story was told on Jeremy Kyle it would make the highlight reel. To paraphrase Randy Feltface, here's how this shit went down. An hour later the couple arrives. The woman was a bit disheveled but was definitely a trophy wife, had a banging dress with a split up the one leg to her thigh. She had a fair amount of bling, rings, bracelets etc. The husband was a shorter guy in a clearly expensive suit. My immediate impression was a gold digger type arrangement. The body language was tense, to say the least. I felt as if they had just had an argument. I offered them a drink which they both declined. I spent a good 5 minutes trying to work out what the bad vibes were and to lighten the mood, being jokey, playful, and flirty. But I was getting nothing from them. Eventually, I just said, "So you guys want to do this, or? It's cool right, you don't have to." I was directing it mostly at the woman, as the vibes were so odd. The couple looks at each other, the woman looks at me, half smiles and whispers yes. I take her hand and lead her to the bedroom. I will try and leave out as much sex detail as I can, but some is necessary. Things progressed as they normally do, and eventually she was on all fours and we were both facing the headboard. Can't describe how she was reacting, but I could tell she was kind of trying not to enjoy it. I am very conscious that I cannot see the husband as he is behind me somewhere doing God knows what. I reposition her so I can see the dude and react if he flips out. The wife, having now been smashed for a little while, relaxes and starts to get into it. She starts moaning and reaching back to play with her clit, etc. She's getting close to coming. I, on the other hand, am deeply stressed out. I was running on rum and Viagra alone. I then noticed the husband start to fidget and pace towards us and back to his spot. I wasn't sure what he was going to do. I assumed he was going to get his junk out and skull fuck his wife, which would have been fine with me. It's his wife after all. But no, with his wife moaning and getting fucked in front of him, he lunges forward and slaps her across the face with a fair amount of force. Fuck. Rather than dismount and react, I did the opposite. I grabbed her ass with both hands tightly, pulled her back and paused, frozen, balls deep. My eyes were wide, I was confused, like a rabbit in the headlights. The guy eventually says continue, and she starts to rock back and forth on my D. I try and forget the angry slap and put it down to kinky violence or something. We continue, until, again he, lunges forward and slaps her. This time he screams dirty slut as he connects, his face full of evil and contorted with rage. The wife flies off the bed sideways, twisting around before I've pulled out, near tearing my dick off and taking it with her. She grabs her shoes and runs out the door crying. I go into fight mode. I'm shouting at the husband, puffing my chest out in the T-pose, forgetting I'm bollock naked still rocking a chemically forced monster Viagra hard-on. I shout something like WTF man, that's fucked, get the fuck out, you fucking crazy man, you can't fucking do that. Well, the guy broke down in tears, sobbing like a baby. I've never seen such emotional pain. If he had a gun to hand, I have no doubt his brains would have been splattered over my bedroom walls in that moment. And I'd have had a shit ton of explaining to do to my mother, my counselor and the police. Thankfully he had nothing to harm himself with. At this point the wife, I assume, was crying her way home. And with the husband sobbing like a baby on my floor in a total breakdown, I start to feel bad. I drop the T-pose and try to console the guy. I poured him some rum and he tells me a sorry tale. 2 weeks prior the man had come home early from work to find his best friend and his wife getting dressed in a panic. They had clearly just been fucking. The friend ran off, and the wife confessed all, but begged for forgiveness. She said it was a mistake, a one-off. Husband was naturally deeply disturbed by the betrayal, but for some reason, he had his wife explain the sex in graphic detail to him, and forced her to show him all of the text messages between them. They had been sexting for months before hooking up. This man was so broken up and angry and so unable to process the situation, that for some reason he felt he needed to watch his wife physically cheating, to see it fully with his own eyes before he could process the pain and forgive her. I gave the guy a hug, told him he can't be violent like that, he needs to speak to a counselor. I gave him some weak-ass advice, like chin up man, it will all work out etc. He then slumped out of my flat door a broken man. I watched him from the window with head in hands, still crying, shoulder bopping up and down as he cried. I never saw either of them again. I do not know if he forgave her, but I often wonder. I kind of hope he did. You can't feel that much pain without an equal amount of love, right? TL Doctor found an Indian couple on a sex app. He starts beating her up while I'm shagging her, then cries on me. Bollock naked still rocking a chemically forced monster Viagra hard-on. We've all been there. Wasn't the first time either, zany face. That's one fucked up story. Kept me guessing till the end and still blew away all my predictions. Damn, this was a roller coaster. This was a wild ride, all things considered. I think you handled pretty well. She slept with his best friend, he forced her to have sex with a rando and then hit her repeatedly. Yeah, I hope they didn't work it out, though I also don't think they should be with anyone else either. Today I fucked up by telling my girlfriend's dad that our relationship was in decline and I would be asking his permission to have an affair. This happened last month during a staycation in the UK with my 25M girlfriend's 25F family. IGF, her mum and her sister decided to go shopping for the day. Her dad, sister's boyfriend and I headed for the pub. We were about 3 pints in when the FU began. GF stat, op, how long have you and my daughter been together now? Me, almost 6 years. GF stat, wow, that long already. Number 7 year itch yet? Here is where it started to unravel. I couldn't recall the exact meaning of the phrase 7 year itch, but I thought it was meant to be a tongue-in-cheek question, basically asking if my GF was getting impatient about when I was to propose and when we would get married. Except, it doesn't mean that at all. Me, yes. In fact, I have been thinking about it more and more recently and I expect it to be on the cards soon. Of course, when the time comes, I will ask for your blessing. My GF stat choked a bit on his beer and stared at me blankly, visibly uncomfortable. I smiled and took another sip of my beer. We finished up, and headed home. After dinner that night, I asked my GF if her dad was okay as he seemed off with me. I briefed her on the conversation in the pub. She stopped me halfway through, with a huge grin on her face, struggling to contain her laughter. She went on to explain that the phrase 7-year itch is in fact a saying or popular belief that after 7 years, a relationship or marriage declines and often results in one of both parties having an affair. So in essence, I told my girlfriend's father that I had been thinking about the decline of our relationship, and when the time came, I would be asking his blessing to sleep with other women. Thankfully, my future in-laws are good people. Once I explained my FU and apologized, they laughed it off and we forgot about it. Smile. Too long didn't read. I misunderstood a common phrase and effectively told my girlfriend's father that our relationship was in peril and I would be asking his blessing to have an affair. Edit. Wow, this blew up. Thank you kind strangers for the awards and all the wholesome comments. Just to clear a couple things up. 1. There are a few people calling me out and calling me an asshole for wanting to ask permission to marry my girlfriend. First of all, I would like to say this is a common and traditional practice in the UK, one which I don't particularly agree with. That said, my girlfriend's family are very traditional people and would likely be offended if I didn't ask. I am going to respect their traditions, even if I don't agree with them. My girlfriend is fully aware of this and agrees it is the right thing to do. 2. Many people have questioned why the hell my girlfriend's dad would ask that, and they are trying to somehow psychoanalyze the situation. I have known my girlfriend's dad for many years. We are good friends and often go to the pub, watch football, etc. He didn't ask the question seriously and was joking. I think it was meant rhetorically and my response took him by surprise, probably the stupidity of it, and was trying to make sense of it before the girls turned up shortly and we had to leave. 3. I have changed permission to blessing as it has been pointed out that the former implies it's ultimately the decision of her parents, which it isn't. Thanks to those who pointed this out. Smile. Sister's boyfriend, damn, these guys have a relationship on a whole other level. Uggs beer. This is adorable and wholesome, but definitely a screw up because they will be telling this story for the rest of your life. Never going to live it down, lol. Haha, you had such a wholesome I love her and I'm thinking of marriage intentions and you totally fumbled what would have been a great moment. I'm sorry, glad they understood the misunderstanding. Edited to fix autocorrect. At least they now know I'm serious about their daughter, D. Next time, 7-year itch. No, the cream the doctor prescribed cleared that up. Finally, an actual fuck up. What? You don't enjoyed the top 10 posts always being one of these? Today I fucked up by doing the same totally normal thing I do every single day, but some outside mitigating factor, over which I had absolutely no control over, causes things to not go the same way they always do. Today I fucked up by, really juvenile sex pun no one has ever used before, with my girlfriend.